It's time to review the Cities of Sigmar Spearhead box set. Today we're going to be reviewing the Age of Sigmar Cities of Sigmar box set. So this is the Spearhead, not like the big box set. And for $120 US, you are going to be getting yourself 570 points in total. So this box set is pretty good, well priced for how many points you're going to get. You're basically in a small forest to play with. And I would say it's pretty effective on the tabletop, especially with that mighty cannon over there. So joining us today will be my brother, who calls himself the Age of Sigmar expert, but that's yet to be seen. So welcome to the show, or whatever this is, the channel.
Hello, everyone.
So let's dive right into our first unit, which is going to be these steel helms. So these are the Free Guild steel helms. So these are just going to be your regular infantry units. There's nothing too remarkable about these guys. They will probably die. I mean, they're not the best. They're pretty mediocre for Age of Sigmar models. So you're going to be getting 10 guys in this unit. So you're going to have 7 regular steel helms, who just with their standard weapons. You're going to get the champion. He's going to get +1 to his attacks. You're also going to get the banner. So he's going to be able to hold the line. This is his thing. So he gets a +1 to bravery of all these guys. And this is the priest. He helps control objectives. So overall, this is a pretty good unit, I would say. So in terms of stats, they all have a 1 for their hits. They have 5 toughness, so that's okay. Or not 5 toughness. I'm thinking of 40k. They're going to have 5 for their bravery and 5 for their movement. They're also going to have a 4+ to hit. So pretty mediocre stats, not super great. And they all are equipped with the same weapon. So they all have their little sword. It's going to have a range of 1 for their attack. It does 2 attacks each, which is kind of nice. And if you with the champion, that's going to be 3 attacks. You're also going to get 4+ to hit and 4 to the see if you can do a wound. And then there is no rend for these guys, so that's a little bit, well, I don't really care because they're just bad guys, but if I did, that would be kind of sad. And they each do 1 damage, so pretty standard unit. They're going to be your infantry, and they also have this little, I don't know, Santa Claus guy that the expert really likes. Do you have any final remarks on these guys?
Not really, other than I feel like they are pretty decent infantry. I think that they can hold the line against other decent infantry, but if they were to face a heavy unit of monsters, it would be a little more difficult for them. But yes, I do love the priest guy because, I don't know, he's just kind of funny.
Yeah, I do like the priest guy as well.
I love how his club does the same amount of damage as the axes and the swords of the other guys.
Yeah, the priest guy's pretty funny. All right, so that's pretty much the steel helms. Let's go into the cavaliers, who are kind of the main special. So these are the Free Guild Cavaliers. They are pretty good unit, actually very good. This is basically like the kind of poster boy of this faction, I would think. They are kind of just like, so this is like based off like medieval society. So obviously the main nobles are going to all be the cavalry. So these guys are a pretty good unit. They are quite fast, and I do think that these guys are possibly the best unit you're going to get out of this, other than the cannon, but they're just a very versatile unit, and I do really like playing with them on the tabletop. They're like one of the main reasons why I bought this box set, other than the fact that I'm a human sympathizer, as you might have noticed. And all of my models, I did put helmets on because I want them to have extra protection so they don't all die. So this is going to have 5 models in it. One of them will be the standard bearer. He gets +1 to the bravery of the unit. And then one of them is going to be the champion, who is this antler guy right here. So he is going to get +1 to all of his attacks. So actually, that is not true. He gets armed with a sword. I was thinking of the steel helm. He's armed with a special sword, actually. This sword is better than the regular sword. We'll get into that when we talk about the stats. And then we get 3 Free Guild Cavaliers who just look awesome. These guys look amazing. I really like how they look. But something I did notice is that if these guys were to actually get off of their horses, they would be about a head taller than like the regular guys. They just seem really tall for some reason. I don't, that might just be me. But like, if you look at them, they're riding on a horse and they're about as tall as, they're even a little bit taller than this guy, and they're sitting down. So I don't really care, but if you do, that's something I noticed. So yeah, these guys are a pretty cool unit. I think that these are like one of the main selling points for this to me. And so for stats, they get a movement of 10. They have 2 HP each, which is nice, but they are knights, so if they didn't, I'd be kind of disappointed. They have a 3+ save, thanks to that plate armor, and 7 bravery. So even with that standard bearer, that's going to bring it up to 8. So that's pretty good. And for their attacks, so all 3 of these Free Guild Cavalier guys, they're going to have a range of 1 for their attack. Each get 3 attacks, hits on 3+, wounds on 3+, rend of -1, and it does 1 damage. So for the champion's weapon, that is going to be the exact same thing, except for with 1 extra attack, with a rend of -2, and with 2 damage. So his is just a very slightly beefed up version of the rest of the Free Guild Cavaliers. And then we've got the standard bearer. He doesn't actually have a special attack. Now, all these guys, they actually get the trample. So you see these little horsey hoofs? Yeah, those are deadly. So they're going to get to attack with a range of 1. They will each do 2 attacks. They get a 4+ to hit, a 4+ to wound. They have no rend, and they do 1 damage. So that's a little nice. I feel like that's a nice little add-on to this attack. So like a little extra attack you get to use. Pretty nice attack too. I'd say I use that a lot, and I think it's really nice, especially when I'm charging. So they do have a devastating charge ability. So if they made a charge, they get +1 to the damage and +1 to the rend. So these guys are just really good at charging units. And if you can manage to drive them away with Battle Shock, you can just kind of charge, flank, and devastate them. So those are the Free Guild Cavaliers, possibly my favorite unit in this entire box. So let's ask the expert about what he thinks.
Alright, I really love the way that you painted these guys and how you made them all have their helmets on, because I just love the picture of the awesome fully plate mail knights charging in. And like, I know that these guys are really good because they always like just destroy my lines of Saurus warriors from the Seraphon faction. And then their cannon can just blow up everything else behind them, which is why they are just amazing.
All right, so that's the Cavaliers. Let's go on to the big gun that is likely why most people are going to buy this set instead of that other box set. All right, so this is the Mighty Ironweld Great Cannon, which is just a very cool name for a very cool unit. This thing is very good. I love it. I love shooting my brother's lines, and I don't think he loves that very much.
Oh no, I don't.
And I love it. I actually think I like this more than the Cavaliers. And it is not included in the other Age of Sigmar box set. It is only included in this, or you have to buy it separately. So pretty big selling point for most people who are thinking about buying this. Very cool cannon, very cool models. I like that this guy kind of looks like he's like a chef, but he's serving up death instead of fun. So, yeah, it's a pretty good unit. So again, you're getting 1 unit, obviously, and it's just the Ironweld Great Cannon. So I don't think there's much explaining to do there. This thing, I do love how like the Age of Sigmar guys kind of have this, or at least the humans kind of have this like Renaissance feeling, which is probably why they have a cannon. It's kind of like the Empire from the fantasy world. This is, yeah, it really gives off those vibes. Kind of wish that they just gave us the Empire rather than the cities of Sigmar, but I still think these guys are cool. So, yeah, pretty solid unit. They've got 3 movement, quite slow. They have 8 HP, so actually very tanky, probably because of this, like, I don't know, this shield thing they have at the front. It's probably why they have so much HP. They have 5 bravery, so I don't think they're going to take getting hit. I don't think they're going to be very happy about that. Probably not trained for that. They have 4+ armor, so that's okay. Not good, but I do believe they have a stat that will make it, yeah, fortified position. At the start of the turn, at the battle, this unit is in a fortified position. At the end of movement phase, if it didn't move, it can make a fortified. Position. If in position, ignore negative modifiers to save rolls made against range. So yeah, this shield is definitely helping them against range. And I think a melee guy could probably just like, go around the shield and start stabbing them to death. But anyone who has to actually shoot them, well, that's not gonna work. So it has 3 different attacks. Now, in the fortified position, you can only, if you have your cannon in a fortified position, you can use these first 2. Otherwise, you can only use the last one. So the first one is just a regular shot that's going to have 24 range. So I'm surprised. I thought this would have a little more range. I'm a 40k guy. The artillery of 40k have like 100 range, but that's just 40k. And Age of Sigmar, this is a pretty long-range weapon. It gets 2 attacks. It hits on a 4+. It wounds on a 2+, so basically guaranteed wound if it hits. And -2 to rend, and it does D3 plus 2 damage, so up to 5 damage. Now, it has 24 range for its other shot as well, which I don't even know what the other shot is. It just kind of looks like a blunt round. It doesn't really say. I didn't print out. I'm using the ones that this came with for rolls.
I think it's incendiary.
Oh, incendiary round. Okay, that's kind of cool. So, all the same stats. The only difference is that it has a -4 rend, and it has a D6 to hit. So, I don't really know why you'd use the other shot. This one kind of has, like, a very high upside, but it can also only do 1 damage. The other one at least does 2 damage, and it's guaranteed to do 3. So, yeah. If you want a guaranteed, decent shot, use the other one. But if you want to have a very volatile, potentially amazing shot, use this one. And then lastly is the grape shot round, which is the one that you can use if it's not in a fortified position. All the grape shot round is it will have a range of 12, so low range. It gets 5 attacks rather than 2, which is good. It hits on a 3+, wounds on a 3+, has a -1 to the rend, and does 2 damage. So you can have the potential to doing 10 damage with this thing. The only problem is that this isn't going to work super well against armored units because it has no rend. So this cannon has a lot of special abilities. As you can imagine, it is a cannon. So one of its special abilities is the shot and shell. So for every shot, you have to choose a cannonball, a grape shot, or an armor-piercing round. So Carl, that was not an incendiary round. That was an armor-piercing round, just so you guys know. So we pretty much already discussed that, but you get to pick one. You can't use all of them at the same time. So the armor-piercing round and the cannonball can only be used in the fortified position, as we already said as well. And we just explained the fortified position. I'm assuming this thing, these little rope thing here, that has something to do with the fortified position, but I don't know. And so, yeah, that's all it has really to offer. So this is just a very cool looking unit. It's just really cool. So here's just what it looks like. The baker baking up death. So these are some of my more recent models I painted. So they are better quality than my old ones. So a lot of all the models I've reviewed up to this point have been my older models, which have been not as good painted. And I'm not a great painter, but it is my favorite part of the hobby. All right, this guy. So this is the mighty Free Guild Cavalier Marshal. Oh, and by the way, expert, I forgot to ask you about what you thought about that cannon. What did you think about La Boom Boom?
I would like it if I had it, but since the cannon goes against my army, I do not like it because it blows up all my dinosaurs.
Well, that's a good sign. The enemy hates it, and I like that about it. All right, so here we got the Free Guild Cavalier Marshal. So this is probably going to be your leader if you bought the Spearhead, and even though I have a bunch of other guys, my dwarves, I'm assuming you can play with the dwarves and these guys at the same time because they all say Cities of Sigmar. Although I've got to say I'm not really a Cities of Sigmar player myself. I only play because my brother plays and his friends, so I like to play with them sometimes. Anyways, this guy's my leader, and I think he's pretty good. He has some pretty good abilities. Pairing him up with these Cavalier guys is very useful, and he can make them way better. So this is just a marshal for the Cavaliers. His name pretty much describes what he is. He's a leader, and the Cavalier guys are probably going to be his command squad. So he has a movement of 10, so we can move 10 spaces. He has a runes of 7, so that's pretty standard for a hero. He has 7 bravery. He has 3 plus to save. And so let's get into those weapons he has. So he has a gun, which you might not have noticed, but this is actually a gun right here. So his gun is going to do it has a range of 18, so actually a longer range than the grape shot, surprisingly. It has 2 attacks. It hits on a 3+, it wounds on a 3+, rend up -1, and 1 damage. So that is the gun, the blunderbuss this guy is equipped with. Not a blunderbuss, but the flintlock probably is what that is. And he has his melee attacks, so his sword. Now his sword is going to deal 4 attacks, It has a range of 1. It hits on a 3+, wounds on a 3+, has a rend of -1, and it does 2 damage once it hits. And it does hit a lot, and it is very good. He has his horse hooves as well, and these are special horse hooves. They're definitely better than the other ones, and not exactly the same. So they attack with 3. They hit on a 4+, they wound on a 4+, no rend, and they do 1 damage when they hit. This guy's pretty cool. I don't really know. I think that he's a good leader. That's about all I can say about this guy. I do like that he has a bunch of cool items. He's a very detailed model, and I like how I painted him. So he looks pretty cool. He has a good aesthetic. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up our Age of Sigmar video, and maybe we'll be doing more of these to review some other guys or my brothers. So any last closing words or remarks?
No, but thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Maybe we'll see you soon, or maybe not. I think you're just gonna come on regularly when we do our Cities of Sigmar or Age of Sigmar reviews. All right, so for now, we're getting Workshop out, and we'll see you on the next one.